Once again, today, a little bit different for me. I got tagged by a young lady, real nice young lady by the name of Fun Size Chaco. She likes to have a little fun at the expense of Christians sometimes, so maybe that's her intent here. But we'll see. She tagged me with a video called 5 Guilty Pleasures. Sorry, I almost forgot the name of it there. So I'm going to list my 5 guilty pleasures and give you some probably really goofy reasons for them, so bear with me. Number 1. First and foremost, my guiltiest pleasure of all time has to be Star Wars. And I mean anything Star Wars. You name it and I am it. I was in the Star Wars fan club when I was a little kid. I've had toy lightsabers. I had an entire package of photos of the original cast, Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford and all them guys. I had their photos signed as being part of the fan club when I was a kid. So I'm totally a nerd when it comes to Star Wars. I'm not quite one of those guys that dresses up to go to the premieres of movies, and I wasn't a big fan of the most recent cartoon movies, the Clone Wars ones. They weren't bad, but it just wasn't the same. And to top it all off, I am what they call a Star Wars expanded universe geek too. I read all kinds of books. There's a few I've skipped out on, a few series, but there was a most recent one called The Legacy of the Force, where Han and Leia had kids, and Luke Skywalker got married and had a kid, and one of those kids, I won't ruin anything for you, but obviously grows up and turns to the dark side. So it was very interesting. Would make for a great plot for 3 more movies. George Lucas, if you're watching, man, there's like $100 billion out there waiting to be made. Come on! Help us geeks out a little bit, will you? But beyond that, yeah, anything Star Wars is definitely my number 1 guilty pleasure. Number 2, since I went with a movie first, let's go with a TV show. This is definitely would be considered a guilty pleasure as far as Christianity is concerned. Number 2 is The Shield. It was billed as The Sopranos of basic cable. This was a show that ran for like 6 or 7 seasons on FX. Starred Michael Chiklis as a guy named Vic Mackey, who was a very corrupt policeman. Was part of a strike team that went undercover to do drug deals and drug busts, and was in somewhere in Farmington, California. I don't know if that's a fictitious city or not. I'm not much of a geography major, so I think I remember hearing it was made up, but it was definitely like an inner city, kind of a dirty city kind of place. There was a lot of like illegal immigrants and stuff like that, and this guy he made being bad just seem so good. It was definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. I kicked my wife and kids out of the room every Tuesday night at 10 o'clock when it came on, and nobody was allowed to talk to me. I didn't answer my phones, nothing. And I ate popcorn and watched this show. It's too bad it ended this past season. The ending was, some people said it was a disappointment, but I didn't really see how else you could end the show. So if you're a fan of the show, you know what I mean. It was kind of sad, but then again, it left room for more, maybe a mini-series or a movie someday. Who knows? Guilty pleasure number 3. This one's kind of goofy too, because I know there are a lot of fans out there of Starbucks. And I used to be a big fan. Of Starbucks. Had to go to the Bucks, get me a venti coffee. But hands down, taste test-wise, Starbucks ain't got nothing on Dunkin' Donuts. And Dunkin' Donuts coffee is definitely a guilty pleasure, because I drink this gigantic, extra large, giant gulp thing every single day. It wakes me up in the morning, keeps me going till about lunchtime. So my guilty pleasure number 3 is definitely Dunkin' Donuts coffee. And we are talking caffeinated, not that wimpy decaf stuff. I'm talking fully leaded, wake you up, kick you in the butt and get you to work. Coffee. Number 4 guilty pleasure is definitely my motorcycle. I love this bike. This is a 2001 Victory Custom Cruiser. Victory has since changed the names of a lot of their bikes to a little bit more edgy stuff, Kingpins and Vegas and 8 Balls. But Victory, I think, started up around 1999. The Polaris Motorsports Company came out with their own brand of motorcycle to compete with Harley Davidson and the Yamahas and the Kawasaki's and the Hondas, and this bike definitely is it. This is an American-made motorcycle. In fact, it's made right here locally in Ohio. I could have got a Sportster 883, like the cheapest, smallest, basic. This is like the Ford Escort of Harley Davidson's. The Sportster is the low end, and for one of those brand new would have been more than I paid for this brand new. And you can see it's got everything. And this was bike, I was told, was made to compete with Harley Davidson's Road King, and I have ridden several Road Kings, and it definitely competes. So if you are in the market for a motorcycle, check out Victory. They have upgraded their fleet a little bit since then, and you would be pleasantly surprised. They have I don't know if they still have it, but they had the Victory Challenge for a long time, that if you were in the market for a motorcycle and you gave Victory a try, they would give you like $100 if you ended up buying a Harley Davidson instead. That's how confident they were in their motorcycles. So if you're looking for a bike, check out Victory. And my number 5 guilty pleasure is baseball. I played through high school. Like I told you guys in a previous video, I was offered some scholarships for college that I just never took advantage of, which shame on me, I know. But I play in an old man's league now. It's called the Roy Hobbs Baseball League. It's just a bunch of old guys that has-beens and never will-be's and never would-have-beens that just love the game and get together on weekends. We dress up in our cute little uniforms, and we go out there and we just have fun. We're not softball guy, the guy that fights over every bad call by an umpire or anything like that. We all know we got to get up the next day and go to work. So it's just for fun. There is a little bit of competition in it from now and then, and we do have some, believe it or not, some ex-major leaguers, a lot of ex-minor leaguers, and a lot of ex-college players in this league that definitely keep it competitive. And when you're out there and you can compete and you can bat 500 or 400 or better against guys like this, it kind of makes you feel good. It makes you feel like a kid again. So I love everything about playing baseball. I coach baseball. I coached my oldest son's team for a couple of years. I've assistant coached one of my younger son's teams, and I love every minute of it. I love when you actually know something about the sport, when there's something you know, and you tell a kid what he's doing wrong, and he goes out there and he does it right, and it works. To watch their face and to watch the pride that they take in themselves for actually doing something right is just an awesome feeling. There's nothing better than that. And for any of you guys out there looking into coaching, you know, if you even have a little bit of knowledge about a sport, coaches are hard to come by in almost every sport, especially dedicated coaches, kids that or guys that are really into it for the kids. It's highly, highly rewarding. You know, it's like I said, it just makes you feel good when they learn something that you taught them. I would imagine it's probably a lot like a regular teacher. You know, when you see a kid finally understand the concept of basic algebra, you know, it's probably that eureka moment is probably just fantastic to be there for. So that's it. That's my 5 guilty pleasures. I hope this wasn't too boring for you. I'm going to tag a couple people. You know what? I don't even know who I'm going to tag yet. So just watch over there in the sidebar, and we'll see who I tag. I hope I did that right. But for now, as always, please remember that true peace begins with how we treat our children. Thank you all for watching. God bless you.